as chair of the Shared Value Project, and given the extraordinary year we've had, I just wanted to share some of the reflections on shared value in 2021, which actually is the 10th year of the global movement. And I know Shared Value Project in Australia has been around for many of those years, and I've had the privilege of being involved with the Shared Value movement for all of those years. So let's just talk about the context of 2021. Well, what a year. Obviously, the pandemic has impacted on us all in different ways. The issues around climate change and the desire by most in our society to solve the problem of the warming of the earth. And of course, there's been a number of important geopolitical issues which concern many, but mostly it's reminded us that there are large social problems that need a solution, and that governments and philanthropists alone can't solve those solutions. And that's really why the shared value movement is continuing to grow, and grow in a way that is encouraging business to step forward and realise that they have the capabilities, the power and the responsibility, and now also the platform to solve some of the world's most pressing social problems. And so I was asked to just share some thoughts about the year and what I've experienced. And where do I think we go from here? Well, first of all, I think as we began the second year of the pandemic, I became quite concerned that the corporate world would fall into its own trap of trying to solve its immediate business problem. But instead, of course, the economy remained strong. And because business saw the social issue of the pandemic, the health issue, that actually has created an awareness in our corporate leaders' minds of the role that we actually can play in solving the social problem. Because we all had to find a way of managing our businesses to make our staff, our customers, our suppliers safe. And that's created a new form of engagement between, I think, the leaders in our business and the roles and responsibilities that they play in society. And I think actually that bodes well for shared value, because having played that role in a health pandemic, having played that role to solve a health issue, it's emboldened the leadership of our businesses and our corporations to actually step forward and say, well, okay, we did it in the pandemic context. We should do it in a climate change context. We should do it in a social housing context. We should do it in many different ways, in a recycling context, in a plastics in our ocean context. There are so many different ways in which this year or these past 2 years, I think, have changed the relationship between the sense of responsibility and the sense of power to actually solve those social responsibilities. And I think that is the biggest reflection I've seen around the boardrooms that I serve in, whether it be not-for-profit or in the corporate world. I think there's a much stronger awareness, a much greater preparedness to use all sorts of different tools and mechanisms. That is, the corporate's resources to solve social problems. And because it's become a little bit more natural, just like using Zoom has become more natural, that is where I think that we've suddenly seen a significant resurgence in energy associated with the concept of solving social problems profitably. And that's my reflection on where we are now as a movement. That in fact, going into the pandemic, I was extremely concerned. Coming out of the pandemic, I'm very joyed. I'm very proud of where the shared value movement has come to. And in fact, like many of us, when I first became involved, it's a good idea, but an idea is nothing more unless it can be implemented. But over the journey, in the case of my own organisation, AIA, I've seen how well it has been implemented. I see how powerful it's become for the organisation. I've seen how motivated our employees and our customers are around that. Now, I also have the chance to look across at some of our other member organisations, whether it be the NAB, whether it be IAG, there's so many to name, and I've been with them on their journey, and I've seen how that journey has changed entire organisations. In that respect, I know that the same thing has happened in the United States, and I know the same thing is happening in Hong Kong, where we're seeing just extraordinary companies take up the mantle, step out and say, yes, solving a social problem profitably is fine. In fact, it's a better way of solving social problems. And for that, I think we do have an intellectual basis. I think we have a strong and powerful movement. I think we've got a very core network. We've got many, many cases now. And those cases, my goodness, no better was it than the Shared Value Project Awards this year, where the examples, the cases, the projects that we were presented with were really of the highest order. Certainly, we've never seen projects and cases like that. So that must be the tip of the iceberg of what is happening across our entire community. I believe that is the tip of the iceberg, and therefore this huge movement is going to come out stronger, prouder, and more important and useful for our society as we go forward over this next years. So with that note, I know many of you are exhausted after this year. I join with you in that exhaustion. I'm looking forward to Christmas and New Year, and I'm looking forward to a very, very exciting 2022. And thank you for your support, your commitment over this time, and Merry Christmas.